Father, we bless you. Teach us your word in the name of Jesus. Today the Lord will be teaching us on a topic that says, on HOREB, the mountain of God, part 3. On HOREB, the mountain of God, part 3. And we're going to take our text from Exodus chapter 3, from verse 15 to 22. All these things that was happening was taking place on Mount HOREB. In verse 15, the Lord revealed, the effect of his name among the people. The name, the memorial name for God in the camp of the Israelites is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They can easily recognize God with that name because they know that, the names attached to it belongs to their forefathers. And these were those who had the testimony that they served the Lord while on earth. In verse 16 to 18, the Lord gave Moses a directive on how to speak to the Israelites. Don't address them generally. Speak to the elders first. That's the Lord speaking to Moses. This was the saving advice that God gave to Moses. Assuming Moses had heard, assuming Moses had not heard God, if he had just moved by zeal and compassion, then he would have addressed the Israelites generally, and of course he would have been stoned to death, because of course they would stone him to death out of anger and out of hatred. The Israelites will see him as a part of their problem because they thought he is Pharaoh's son. So all the anger they had for Pharaoh will be poured on him, not knowing he is one of them. Zeal is good, but it is not enough. Compassion is good, but it is not enough. You will need to hear God on the next step, because what you think is right may be wrong. You could imagine what would have befallen Moses if he was only moved by pity and not by God. In verse 19, it was clear that the stubbornness of the new Pharaoh of Egypt was so tough that even God knew he was stubborn. Exodus chapter 3, verse 19 to 20. And I am sure that the king of Egypt will not let you go. No, not by a mighty hand. And I will stretch out my hand and smite Egypt with all my wonders, which I will do in the midst thereof. And after that, he will let you go. When God calls a man, he won't leave the man in the dark as to what his ministry entails, and those things he will face as he starts responding to the call. So nothing happened in Egypt that was strange to Moses, because God has told Moses everything, including the stubbornness of the king. So at that point, even the stubbornness of Pharaoh was not new to Moses, because God have also told him that. From the speakings of God, you will see the end from the beginning. In verse 21, the Lord told Moses what will happen as the Israelites leave Egypt. He told them that they won't leave empty. Meanwhile, the Israelites were still in captivity while God was speaking. Even Moses has not even taken any step towards moving to Egypt, yet he had full knowledge of everything his ministry entails. God won't call a man and leave him with little knowledge about the calling. If you have little knowledge of your calling, if you have little knowledge of your ministry, it means that you have not been patient enough to hear God in detail as per what your ministry entails. Some only heard go and they jump out without even waiting to know where to go. Such people will only know they have a calling upon them, but to discern the exact thing they are called to do will be an issue. So because of this, they will always want to be everywhere, doing everything anyhow. May the Lord help us to be patient enough in order to get full details about the divine assignment before us, in the name of Jesus. This is the wisdom of God. Don't sell it.